So it's time to answer this question once and for all. Which is the better broker for Malaysians to buy US stocks? Is it Interactive Brokers or Rakuten Trade? Well, there are two answers to this question, one short and another long one. The short answer is Interactive Brokers is hands down the better stockbroker for a multitude of reasons. And as for the long answer, well, let's just say they are not comparable to begin with, because it's like comparing a Lamborghini and a Myvi. Yes, both of them have 4 wheels and can drive you around safely, but there are many more aspects that we need to look into the details, because choosing a stock brokerage for your investments is very subjective and can also be very personal. So just because Interactive Brokers is better on paper does not mean it is the best choice for everyone out there. Allow me to explain it in just a minute. But just before I begin, full disclosure here, I'm an affiliate partner to both of them, which means I do receive some form of commissions when you choose to sign up with either of them using my links down below. Thank you for that. But that said, neither of them paid me for this video or have any form of input. So rest assured, this review will be a non-biased, in-depth analysis of everything you need to know to choose between these two brokers. So with all of that out of the way, let's begin by comparing their background and regulatory information. As you can see here, Interactive Brokers have been running their brokerage business since 1977, making them operational for over 44 years, whereas Rakuten Trade only entered the Malaysian market in 2017 under a joint venture between Kenanga Investment Bank Berhad and Japan's Rakuten Securities. IBKR themselves is a listed entity on the US Nasdaq stock market with a total market cap of around 27 billion US dollars as of the recording of this video. So the fact that they are public listed means they are subjected to strict regulations. Plus, they have to be transparent with their financials, so that makes them more secure compared to many other brokers out there. Rakuten Trade, on the other hand, is not a listed entity. However, its parent company are both public listed companies, Kenanga Investment on the Bursa Malaysia and Rakuten Group on the Tokyo Stock Exchange. And combining both of them together, they are only worth about 7.5 billion US dollars in terms of market cap, which is much smaller in comparison to Interactive Brokers. And in terms of licensing, Interactive Brokers is regulated and licensed in at least 10 different countries, such as the US, UK, Australia, Hong Kong, Canada, Japan, India, Singapore, Ireland, and Hungary. Whereas on the other hand, with Rakuten Trade, they are only licensed and regulated in Malaysia. Now, I know, Rakuten does offer US stock trading, but do you know that it is actually in collaboration with Interactive Brokers? That means all of your US stock trades, settlement and custodian etc. are all done with Interactive Brokers at the back end. What that also means is the counterparty risk on US stock trading with Rakuten Trade is actually still hinged on Interactive Brokers. So if you ask me, having the license from SC Malaysia does give us some comfort in terms of their credentials, but that does not completely eliminate the Interactive Brokers counterparty risk at all. Not saying that IBKR will just vanish one day, but just putting it out there in case if there's any confusion. Now, in terms of market coverage, this is where they start to differ, because Interactive Brokers allow you to trade in more than 33 different countries, which include major stock exchanges in US, UK, Singapore, Hong Kong, China, etc., but not Bursa Malaysia. Whereas Rakuten Trade only allow you to trade Bursa Malaysia and the US stock market. So two major reasons here why Interactive Brokers have a leg up on this section. One, even though Rakuten Trade does allow you to trade US stocks, they are, however, limited to only over 1,000 US stocks, which are mostly large to mega cap companies. I'm not saying that it's bad, because most of the famous stocks that you would want to trade, like Tesla, Apple, Amazon, SPY ETF, are all covered. But the problem comes when some of you active traders want to trade mid to small cap companies, which is sadly not provided by Rakuten Trade, as they are not in popular demand by their user base. It's definitely a first world problem, not gonna lie, but just something to keep in mind if you ever thought of venturing down that path. And the second reason, having access to United Kingdom means you have access to London Stock Exchange, which means you can trade island domicile ETFs like CSPX or VUAA or whatever that tracks the US S&P 500 index, or EQQQ ETF that replicates what the US QQQ Nasdaq ETF is doing. And the reason why you want to do that is because island domicile ETFs impose 15% withholding tax on your dividends as opposed to the 30% withholding tax on dividends paid from US companies to Malaysians directly, since Malaysia doesn't have a tax treaty with the US. So over the long run, you are losing out a huge chunk of returns due to the compounding effect. Check out this video where I explain the full benefits of going for island domicile ETFs as opposed to US domicile ETFs, and trust me, you won't regret spending that extra 15 minutes for this knowledge, especially if you plan to invest in the US stock market for the long term. Moving on, we take a look at the financial products offered by both of them. And as you can easily see already, Interactive Brokers stand out again because they are able to support trading for stocks, ETFs, options, bonds, futures, and spot currencies, aka Forex. Meanwhile, on the other end with Rakuten Trade, you can only trade stocks and ETFs both in the Bursa Malaysia and US stock market. So not saying that it's bad, because most of us are only here for the stocks and ETF, which is more than sufficient already. But IBKR in this case allows you the flexibility to trade significantly more financial products, which, hey, who knows, one day you might be interested in exploring, so that can be pretty handy. And another thing that stood out here is their currency account, and as you can tell already, since IBKR is regulated in so many countries, they are able to provide you the access of a multi-currency account that supports up to 24 currencies in total. Meanwhile, Rakuten Trade, only Malaysian ringgit and US dollar. Again, it's not bad by any means, just something that could limit you if you are keen to explore, say, Singapore Exchange or just any other international stock exchange. And the last thing here would be their margin accounts, where IBKR provide the lowest margin financing rate for any market you want to trade in, whereas for Rakuten Trade, you can only get margin in Bursa Malaysia only. So if you are a margin trader, you might want to take note on that, but most of the people, including me, can do well with just a cash account, so this isn't really a deal breaker. Now we look at the trading features that they offer, and that could be a make or break factor for most of you. With Interactive Brokers, they allow you to trade fractional shares, which means you don't need to buy one full share of any US stocks and ETFs. For example, Tesla was trading at $283.70 per share as of the recording of this video, and that would mean you need to spend about 1,276 ringgit just to buy one full share. But understandably, not everyone is able to afford that amount in one single trade. So instead of buying one full share, you can choose to buy only, say, half shares of it. So effectively, you only need to pay about 640 ringgit to trade 0.5 shares of Tesla. So this feature is a huge win for those of you that wish to DCA a smaller amount periodically, or just having a smaller capital to trade, and for which Rakuten Trade unfortunately does not provide that yet. Now, other order attachments like take profit and stop losses are also offered by Interactive Brokers, but not Rakuten Trade. This is a nice to have but not necessarily an important feature, because it's mainly to cater for traders that have too many counters to look at once. So they set these order attachments in order to not miss their trades, and sometimes it's just a simple risk management strategy that traders use to manage their portfolio. And for long-term investors, you can still use it, but you can definitely do without it as well. I personally don't like to use stop losses and take profits, as I am a buy and hold investor anyway. And in the form of order types, you also get a lot more options with Interactive Brokers, where you can place limit trades, market, mid price, and many more, which can be fancy, but again, not necessarily a crucial feature. The limit order that Rakuten Trade offers is, in my opinion, more than enough for vast majority of investors out there, even for me as well. But not gonna lie, market order can be rather helpful sometimes, especially when you couldn't care less about the minor price fluctuations and just want to get it done with a trade. But then again, this is a nice to have feature, not a must have. And just before I wrap up this section, you can short sell, which means bet against a stock or ETF with IBKR's margin account. But you can't do it with Rakuten Trade because they only allow you to open long positions. So that definitely appeals more towards long-term investors as opposed to someone that cares about the short-term price movements. Okay, on towards the fee structure, where most of you will be interested in. I will just focus on comparing their fees for trading in the US stock market, because I believe most of you are here for this comparison. So feel free to explore the fees for other markets, because they are definitely different than the fee structure for US stocks and ETFs. Let me begin with Interactive Brokers. You get to choose between two fee structure, tiered pricing structure and fixed pricing structure. And long story short, if you are trading smaller volume of shares per trade, which I believe most of you do, just like me, you will be fine with the tiered pricing structure where you only need to pay 35 US cents per trade. However, if you trade a huge volume of shares such as penny stocks or small cap stocks, then the fixed fee structure would suit you better and it will only cost you a minimum of $1 per trade. On the other end with Rakuten Trade, however, you will be able to trade US stocks and ETFs using either ringgit or US dollar in your cash balance. But to make it simple for you, it's always better to trade with US dollar to minimize the conversion losses. So that will cost you $1.88 per trade with Rakuten Trade, which is about 5 times more than Interactive Brokers. And before you say, wow, so expensive, you need to understand that $1.88 per trade is actually not too bad because most of us only trade a few times a month, some only once a month like me. And if you compare this number against the 2 other SC Malaysia licensed brokers that allows you to trade US market, which are MIDF Invest, they will charge you a minimum of $5 to $8 per trade, while FSM1 they charge you a minimum of $8.80 per trade. And that represents at least 3 to 4 times more expensive than Rakuten Trade's $1.88. And don't forget, banks are charging you at least $25 per trade. Let that sink in. And in case I wasn't clear already, Rakuten Trade is hinging on Interactive Brokers to execute their US stock orders. So it's totally normal for Rakuten to charge a fee higher than Interactive Brokers. Anyways, the next line, currency conversion spread. IBKR again has a much superior offering where their conversion spread only comes at about 0.1% but with a small fee of $2 for each conversion. And that makes this 0.5% on Rakuten Trade looks pale in comparison, especially if you are converting a huge sum at once. But one thing you need to know is with Interactive Brokers, the currency conversion is not from ringgit to US dollar directly if you are not using WISE like I have shown you in my previous videos. So any other funding route that involves banks or double conversion would definitely incur a little bit more losses. And plus, if you don't have more money to convert at once, you will definitely incur more losses with the $2 conversion fee. Just something for you to take note. So in this department, Rakuten Trade does appeal more towards investors with a smaller capital of roughly few hundred ringgit to over 1,000 ringgit per month. But if you have anything more like 2,000 ringgit and above for each conversion, then I would definitely lean towards Interactive Brokers more. And just to quickly touch through their deposit and withdrawal fee, they are all free for both of these brokers. But Interactive Brokers will charge you $10 each for any subsequent withdrawal within the same month. I don't think that really matters since not many people withdraw that often anyway, but just putting it out there in case you're wondering. Alright, the next thing I'm gonna compare is their trading platforms, and both of them allow you to trade on their desktop and mobile app. I will start off with Interactive Brokers first. First of all, you can use their client portal, which is a desktop portal that allows you to perform literally every function that you will ever need with it. It's not necessarily beginner friendly, but definitely not hard at all to use. And in case you want to learn how it works, I have an entire video dedicated to it, so feel free to check it out. IBKR also has 3, yes you heard me right, 3 mobile apps to cater for investors from all walks. If you are new to the stock market and you don't want to feel overwhelmed by all the financial jargon and metrics and whatnot, you can go for the IBKR Global Trader app or the IBKR mobile app, which is actually almost identical except for some ESG reasons which you don't really need to care about. But if you want more features and information out of your mobile app, you can also go for the conventional IBKR mobile app, which I also had a video on it before. And for the 0.001% of you watching this video that are day traders or knows how to trade with algorithms, you can go for their professional desktop software app that they call it the Traders Workstation. But if you're anything but a professional day trader, don't even bother using it because you will be easily overwhelmed by its complex and outdated features. Now on the other side with Rakuten Trade, it's pretty simple. They only have a mobile app and a desktop browser platform. Their desktop browser is actually pretty beginner friendly and easier to use compared to Interactive Brokers, but that also means it has significantly lesser financial metrics, research reports, valuation ratios, etc., which is again not the end of the world because you can easily make up for it by going for external sources like Yahoo Finance or Morningstar, so you don't actually lose out too much because this browser can definitely get the job done for you. Their iSpeed mobile app, let's just say it's primitive at best and looks like something developed from 10 years ago. definitely could use a much needed UI and UX revamp, but if you put the aesthetic factors aside, it gets the job done with a very low latency and with pretty minimal downtime, so I guess that's still a pass in terms of usability. Okay, the last factor that I'm gonna compare in this video is the convenience factor, because hey, you can have all the fancy features you want, but the account setup and funding journey is the most basic fundamentals that the broker needs to nail before their customers can start trading right. In terms of account opening, I would say both of them are equally easy to set up and can be done within 1 or 2 business days, but keep in mind that IBKR will be asking for more information since they are an international broker offering much more markets. And in terms of funding setup, this is what I would say differentiate IBKR and Rakuten Trade, because understandably, IBKR covers more markets and have more currency options, but sadly, they do not have a license by SC Malaysia. So there are some workarounds that you can do to fund IBKR in the form of Sing dollar or US dollar or just any other currencies. Don't worry, I have a full suite of videos that will show you just that. Just check out the pinned comment down below, or feel free to ask if you have any questions on that. So it's safe to say Rakuten Trade win hands down on this department. You can fund ringgit directly into your account via online FPX and convert them to US dollars immediately with a click of a button. So definitely something to consider if funding convenience is a huge factor to you and you don't mind the lesser features by Rakuten Trade. Withdrawal wise, it's pretty similar to funding. IBKR is slightly harder to withdraw since it involves cross-country transactions, whereas Rakuten Trade allows you to withdraw ringgit via online FPX as well, so that's super convenient for us Malaysians. The last thing on this section is their customer support, which I understand could be a make or break factor for some of you that prefers live phone support. Both of them does provide phone support, but keep in mind that IBKR supports are mostly overseas, so you might need to have a little bit of patience in understanding their foreign accents. And also, you will be charged a higher international dialing fee, for which it costed me around 3 ringgit for 10 minutes of call to their US number using my Maxis line. Not the worst thing after all, because you can also reach out to them via email support ticket or live chat, which usually takes about 10 minutes to connect, and so far the experience was pretty pleasant for me. Over on the Rakuten Trade side, you can also reach out to them via phone call, but during Malaysian business hours only. But for all intended purposes, even during off-working hours, as long as during Bursa or US market trading hours, you can also reach out to them via email or their social media platforms such as Facebook and Instagram, which is again pretty responsive from my experience so far. So all said and done, I'm sure by now you would have a better idea of their pros and cons. So for what it's worth, here's my verdict and recommendation to you. If this is your first time looking for a stockbroker to trade US stocks from Malaysia, and you just want a hassle-free and cost-effective experience to quickly begin your investing journey, plus the comfort of knowing that it is regulated and licensed by the Securities Commission of Malaysia, which could be a big deal to you, then look no further, just go for Rakuten Trade. There are no other licensed broker that can provide you such features at this price. It's unbeatable in Malaysia. However, if you really want the cream of the crop, the best international broker out there with a long and reputable track record at the lowest fee possible, plus the flexibility to trade fractional shares in the US and trade island domicile ETFs to save yourself from paying too much dividend withholding tax, plus all the bells and whistles of a better equipped trading platform, and you don't mind the slight hassle of setting up for the funding accounts, for which I have more than 10 videos detailing and showing you how to do it step by step, 100% foolproof, then by all means, you know it already, Interactive Brokers is the way to go. It is the benchmark and no other stockbroker even comes close to its offerings, let alone Rakuten Trade. If you don't trust me, just ask any of my viewers that are using IBKR right now. I can guarantee you plus chop, most of them never look back. And hey, if you still have trouble choosing, why not both, right? Who says you can only have one stockbroker? It's never a wrong thing to diversify your investment holding risk, right? Okay, I hope you found this video helpful. All affiliate links are down below. Feel free to check them out to get some free rewards. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead, and I will see you in the next one.